Alright guys, I'm about to teach you the exact process that I use every single time that I write or that I audit one of my clients' outbound prospecting campaigns. And this is going to work for cold emails and cold DMs. And listen guys, I know that I've been talking a lot lately about paid advertisement, organic content, funnels, everything that has to do with how to run ads, how to go and create YouTube videos. And for this video, I want to just return back to my roots and start to share with you guys most of the rationale and the thought process that I have whenever it comes to outbound prospecting, okay? Just like the phrase goes, I don't want to give you the fish, I actually want to teach you how to fish and break down the 4 main types of cold emails or cold DMs that you can use to book appointments and ultimately get clients and get some cash flow coming in. Okay, that's it guys. If you want to use a document that I'm going to be presenting in this video, make sure to go to the link in the description and join my free Facebook group where I have all of the resources in my YouTube channel. Okay, with that out of the way, let's just begin with the video. Okay, the first thing that we gotta do, if we're talking about the perfect angle or the perfect cold DM or the perfect cold email, is actually distill or understand what the meaning of perfect actually is, okay? Because most people would think that the perfect cold email or the perfect cold message is simply the message that is going to get you more clients, okay? And even if ultimately at the end of the day that's the goal, the reality here, guys, is that we need to think in terms of what's the outcome that having a good cold email or a cold DM actually provides. And most people would think that it's cash, most people think that it's clients, most people would think that it's booked appointments, and a few of them are not going to say that the goal of cold DMs is to get followers. And let me just tell you something, guys. I want you to tattoo something in your forehead, guys. The goal of your cold emails and your cold DMs and your cold calls, you know what it is? It's not to even book a meeting, it's to get a reply. Because when you're maximizing for the next logical step in every single step of the way of your sales process, you're going to notice that if you do that in every single step of the way, you're going to maximize all of the stages in the sales process. Does that make sense? So the meaning of perfect by default is then which is the highest converting cold email or cold message that we can create in order for people to reply to our messages, okay? And the second one is what is the goal of the message, okay? Because of course you can maximize for amount of replies, but if we were to use that, let's say Aristotelic logic, what will happen is that we can send super BS type of messages and get people getting mad at us because we're of course getting the most replies, but we're sending some bullshit, hey, what's your name, right? For example, or hey, I just have something to tell you about your girlfriend, right? People can reply, but that has nothing to do with the goal of the message. What the meaning of these messages is at the end of the day is simply, you guessed it, to get a reply, to ultimately book a meeting. And now, once we're in the meeting, then there's a whole bunch of different videos in my YouTube channel where you can learn more about how to close the deals, how to conduct the sales conversation, etc. Okay? But this out of the way, let's just hop to one of my Google documents and start to talk about this topic that I'm super passionate about and that I want to share with you guys. Okay? So, inside of these 4 main types of angles, and what you're going to notice is that most of this is written in terms of cold emails, but I promise you this is of course going to work for cold emails, but also for cold DMs. I will make a huge emphasis on which one you should focus on depending on the stage you're at and what you should do, okay? So there's first of all direct sales based, which work phenomenally well for either Facebook outreach or for cold email. The second type of message is what I call conversation starters, which is rapport based. The third type of message is what I call lead magnet / give value before they ask type of messages, which is value based. And the last one is what opens the door to a whole bunch of different opportunities and is unique approaches that you can come up with, okay? And this is creative based, okay? And like I was saying at the beginning of the video, guys, my goal here is not to give you a specific script to follow, but more than anything, my thought process when it comes to crafting cold prospecting angles so that you can come up with your own later on, okay? Essentially, like I said, teach you how to fish instead of giving you the fish. Having said that, I'll explain the different categories, the rationale behind them, and also some examples for you to see my point, okay? So when it comes to direct sales, the goal with this one, just like I said here, of course, the actual goal always is going to be appointment setting, but the goal or the medium or the type of reply that you're going to maximize for is going to change depending on the type of angle you're using, okay? When you're having a direct sales-based type of angle, the goal is simply to have the prospect either show interest or not on your offer. Period. Okay? What you want to do is test different pillars / features of your offer to see which resonates the most with your audience. And what you need to do is expand your mind. Because if you close yourself to the obvious influencer marketing offer that you have or the obvious short-form content or the business coaching offer that you have, then you're never going to be able to come up with different angles that might have the key to the kingdom when it comes to maximizing replies. Okay? Always talk about benefits, outcomes, mechanisms, etc. And what I want you guys to do is be specific about the tangible outcomes, the timelines, and always add risk reversals and or case studies. Remember to approach this as a scientist. When you're doing cold outreach, you want to think in terms of numbers and probabilities, not so much in, hey, I sent 10 cold emails, I'm super tired and people are not replying, okay? That's what you gotta think. And in this type of angle, I like to talk high level so that in the next email or in the next DM, we can talk about the warranty and about breaking down the case studies, etc. Okay? So let me show you some examples that I've used and that can work really, really well for your offer. Okay? Hey, first name, congrats on being featured on database. This is, for example, you're doing cold emails, you're scraping your lead from some sort of database, and you can say something like, hey, I'm reaching out because we specialize in placing commission-only appointment setters in SEO agencies that book 100 to 150 calls per month. Last month, Lucas Ryman booked 120 calls with this, which resulted in 68K in cash collected. 95 cents over more info. Enrique, founder at Royland. Do you notice how simple and how soft the call to action is? Because I'm not saying, hey, here's my link to book a call. I'm not saying, hey, here's how, go and watch my YouTube channel. What I'm saying is simply 95 cents over more info. The moment they reply positively, I add them to the CRM, and now I can be more personalized in the replies, show them an actual case study, show them how the process works via a YouTube video, and pitch a 10, 15-minute call, okay? You can also warm call the people who actually reply positively to this, and you're going to maximize your replies, okay? Not in your book calls, okay? And listen, there's something that I need you guys to understand. My offer has a lot of different components, right? I mean, we of course help with the sales process. We do help with the appointment setter / SDR recruitment. We also do help with, for example, offer creation. But if I were to talk about all of these things, people will be like, oh shit, man, like I don't even have time to read to your cold email, right? Instead, I maximize for the thing that I know that my target audience actually is interested in, which is qualified sales appointments, and then I can actually offer that in the cold email, okay? Another example is the following, so that you can see how I like to distinguish between these two different offers and these two different opportunities. I like to say something along the lines of, hi, first name, hope everything's well at your end. Not sure if you guys are already averaging at least 3 to 4 calls per day, but we specialize in placing commission-only closers in coaching / consulting businesses. The average closer we place closes at 20% plus once they are ramped up, and the process typically takes only 47 days till they hit KPI. Is this relevant, or are you guys struggling to have that amount of calls at the moment? Boom. Look how soft this is and how valuable this can be for you guys, especially because if they are actually needing closers or they might need sales teams in place, then we can help them with that. But on the flip side, look at them also asking them something along the lines of, hey, is this relevant, or are you guys still trying to book that amount of calls? Because in case that they were, they can actually show them different benefits of the offer. You see? So it's always, this type of approach is like yes or no, essentially, okay? This is just the first type, which is sales-based. The second type, which is one of the best ones if you're just getting started, is what I call conversation starters or rapport-based. Because here the goal is to get the prospect to respond to something that will allow us to then present our offer, okay? By the way, that first one that I mentioned is typically better for cold email or Facebook outreach. This one works really, really well for any sort of cold DM type of message and also for cold email, okay? You want to ask questions that are most likely or more likely to get a response. And there are no rules when it comes to this, okay? So for example, imagine how you would start a conversation at a coffee shop with your best friend. That's what you want to do in these type of scenarios. And the actual magic of these campaigns happen once the prospect replies. Once the lead replies, booking a call is way easier. And let me show you what this means, because otherwise it's not going to make that much sense. So this was one of the messages that we used for one of our clients back when we were actually running a cold email lead generation agency, okay? What we said, or what we used to say, is simply, hey, hi, first name, notice that you're a fellow agency executive. Do you offer web development services? Cheers, Natasha. Notice, number one, the first thing. This was a white label campaign, okay? So our client, what they wanted to do is offer web development services to e-commerce, okay? But look at this. Instead of she going directly for e-commerce clients, what she did, or what we actually did, and we talked with her, is we started to go to agencies who work with e-commerce brands and offer white labeling the services for our client so that they can actually offer that to their existing clientele, and then ultimately Natasha gets the customers that are e-commerce brands. Make sense? Essentially come as a partner and white label her services to her clients or to her white label partners, essentially. Okay? So why is this valuable? Because you see that we're adding familiarity, like, hey, notice you're a fellow agency executive. Do you offer web development services? If they say yes, it's like, okay, cool. How much do you want to maybe outsource some of the work? which is a good case, or you are not. Okay, how about if you start offering that, and then here's how it would look like. Both cases are a win. Now, another example is, hey, would you be interested in doing a tech talk? Cheers, Ryan. This was from another one of our clients. And guess what? Since this was mostly sent to coaches, what ended up happening is that most of them actually replied yes, like, hey, I'm interested. Then now when they're interested, we can pitch them on how that would look like, okay? So that's example on conversation starters. You're not offering anything like free. You're also not pitching anything. You're just starting a conversation, okay? Now, the third one is the most powerful and the one that I've made most of the money that I've made from outbound prospecting using. Okay, this is like by far the most powerful. Okay, before I show you this angle, what I want you guys to do is, if you're finding any value whatsoever in this video, go ahead and like it, share it with someone, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you think about it in the comments. Okay, the third type of angle is what I call the lead magnet or / give value before the ask type of angle. And the goal in here is simply to prove competence beforehand. Okay, and pro tip, think about creative ways to scale your lead magnet using artificial intelligence, okay? Because what I find interesting is that everybody knows the value, especially after Alex Hormoz's $100 million leads, everybody finds the value in lead magnets. But most people think that lead magnets are something that you can only offer when you're doing inbound, like literally as a landing page lead magnet opt-in, or maybe as a thing that you have in your Facebook group, or something that you send people through an entire hassle in order for them to get. You can offer a lead magnet using outbound, and guess what? Your reply rate is going to go through the roof, I promise. Think about how you can provide generalized lead magnets that feel specific and unique. If you're able to crack that, outbound is going to be easier than ever, I promise. And this is the most powerful of all if done well, okay? A good rule of thumb is to appear as if you already have something for them so that they are more likely to reply. And I'm going to show you the exact angle that I used to sign 20 plus agency clients back when I was having my cold email lead generation agency in only 3 months, okay? If you run a lead gen offer, send them a list of leads. If you have some sort of influencer marketing offer, send them a list of influencers. If you are doing some sort of short-form content, send them a tailored reel. Always think outside of the box, though. If everybody is starting to send tailored reels, of course, that's not going to cut it. Try to figure separate things, and that's your job to figure out, okay? Listen, this exact angle that I'm going to show you literally booked me like 7 calls per day for approximately 2 months straight, okay? The angle was like this. Remember, this was because I was selling a cold email lead generation agency as a service, okay? Cold email as a service where I used to run a pay-per-call model. So what I used to say is simply, hi, first name, not sure if you can take more clients at the moment, but I have a list of companies actively looking for mobile and web developers. My niche was mobile and web development, okay? Then I said, this is a list we made for a client, but they wanted to stop having calls till next quarter. I noticed that you guys do software development and are featured in DesignRush. That's where I scraped the list. So I decided to reach out. Mind if I send them to you, or should I reach out to someone else? Super low friction. Enrique Aquiles, founder at SaaSquest. Postscript, these are free, by the way. Hope you have a great start to your year, because that was like in January 2020 or January 2021. I don't remember, okay? So guess what, guys? If you are a web developer or a mobile app developer and you get this message, are you going to reply? Of course, freaking yes, right? That's why we had like 40% replies on these cold emails. And then once someone replies, guess what we did? Once they reply positively, we send them a Google Sheet with the actual list of leads, and we say, by the way, here are the 1,500 leads that we have sprayed for this client. By the way, we actually run a cold email lead generation agency. Are you open to discuss maybe a way in which we can work this lead for you guys and work on commission basis? No worries either way. Guess what? Pretty much everybody agrees to that by that point, okay? So that's a good example of how you can do it. The fourth example and the last way in which you can go about creating cold emails or cold DMs that are actually going to get replies and that are going to book meetings is what I call unique approaches that you can come up with, okay? And these are creative based. And the goal here is to stand out from the marketplace or from the noise altogether by doing weird shit. That's literally what it means, okay? The goal is simply to stand out, and there are no guidelines. So back in the day, something that I did was something called the sales cast. Okay, and this is something that I learned from Jordan Ross and Lucas James, because they actually have one of the biggest marketing agency podcasts in the world, if I'm not mistaken, right? And I used to listen to that podcast every single day, honestly. And what I learned is that most of their clients, and I was always impressed by them having like new guests every single day, and I'm like, dude, like, how do these guys run a business, right? That's what I think, right? And then what I realized is that what they did is that they invited all of the guests, and that was their outreach campaigns. And then at the end of the podcast, they pitched their offer. Okay? And this was honestly something incredible. And I tried it, and it worked phenomenally well. As a matter of fact, I started my podcast that I still run to this day. Of course, I don't do this anymore, but I still run that podcast, and well, it was honestly just because I wanted to start doing that type of approach, okay? Essentially, what this angle looked like is something like this. I said, hi, first name, I'm currently interviewing SaaS businesses and subscription-based companies interested in sharing their lessons while growing their business to other entrepreneurs in my podcast/YouTube channel. Approximately 200 daily viewers at the moment. And honestly, that was a lie. By that point, my podcast had maybe 2 listeners per month, if anything, and my YouTube was like, I don't know, I had like 20 subscribers, and that's it, okay? But still, people reply positively, don't get me wrong, right? Well, and then I simply said, notice that you guys are doing some great job in the building maintenance space, so I decided to reach out. Would you be interested in being featured as a guest? Let me know so I can send over a few times to chat before your episode. Enrique. And then postscript, I run a lead gen agency and can discuss connecting you with some good prospects afterwards as my way of saying thanks. Who's going to say no to that, my guys? And if you actually master this, I promise you, you are going to book more meetings that you know what to do with. Like anything, before I actually finish this video, you need to test up and come up with unique angles that fit your ICP, your service line, and your overall offer. And again, don't forget to optimize everything outside of your cold email campaign or your cold DM campaign, okay? For example, if you have bad deliverability, you're going to have a hard time making sure that this works, okay? If you have the best angle, but you don't have some sort of presence online for people to know that you're an actual human being, you're going to have a hard time, okay? And a hack that I recommend you guys, regardless if you follow my advice or not when it comes to cold email, is every single time you get a positive reply from a prospect, connect with them on LinkedIn and simply say, in your reply in the cold email, hey, send your message, send your connect request on LinkedIn, and then that adds up a little bit more to the familiarity in the sales process, okay? So this is how it looks like, guys. If this video was helpful, just give it a like, subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in working with us, go ahead to the link in the description to know what that would look like. But that out of the way, I appreciate your time watching this video, and as always, I don't give that for granted, okay? All right, guys, so see you guys in the next one, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.